Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar on BIM 360 Docs. This is one of a series offered by MicroCAD on the use of Autodesk Cloud Collaboration System BIM 360. Today we're focusing on an overview of BIM 360 and the functionality it offers to those people using it to review and comment on designs. Subsequent webinars will talk about how to get started and use the design collaboration service BIM 360 Design. As a company, MicroCAD empowers design professionals in the construction and manufacturing industries to increase productivity and meet project goals. With 30 years of experience as a minority-owned business, we pride ourselves on working with all clients through every stage of the design process to assess needs and provide tailored and effective solutions. As we go through this webinar, you may have questions or comments. Feel free to enter them into the questions area of the interface on the right-hand side. If you don't see the control panel, click on the orange arrow at the top right. I will try to respond as I see the questions. One other point, the excitement of cloud services is they can be updated and extended continuously. So this webinar will cover the capabilities as they exist today, but next week there may be brand new functionality. We will repeat BIM 360 webinars in the future and expand them to cover all new tools. First, let's talk about the problems that BIM 360 is intended to address. This applies to both vertical and horizontal construction endeavors. Projects are getting more complex, data is getting heavier, and the number of participants is increasing. Here we see lots of partners coming and going over the duration of a project. These partners could be located anywhere but have to share information. Using a BIM model as a central data repository makes sense in this environment, but how do all these players get access to the data? From experience, we know that solutions like Dropbox are error-prone, FTP sites consume IT resources, and SharePoint-like approaches don't provide the integration with the design tools that we need. Connectivity is no longer a 9-to-5 thing. People are working 24/7 from their home, their car, the trailer. We need better. Autodesk saw the solution as being cloud-based and tied to the software you use in everyday work. This resulted in BIM 360 Next Generation. A key feature of BIM 360 Next Gen is that it's based on the Forge platform. Forge is open source architecture that encourages third-party developers to add apps. There are now over 100 of these apps available to BIM 360 customers, and more are being added weekly. Here are some of the apps that are available today. They include integrations with other business systems, technical links like several to SharePoint, data aggregation tools, and utility functions. BIM 360 provides access anywhere with any device, freeing up the workers to get out of the trailer and onto the site. It provides collaboration tools to enable designers to create submission sets for review and monitor the progress of the review. All of the project data from the BIM model can be reviewed in 3D or as a 2D drawing set. This data can be architectural, MEP, structural, civil, whatever. It all is in one location. A corollary of having a strong BIM-oriented data management system is being able to create and track issues, providing for implementation of safety programs, including checklists and exclusion zones, and auditable management of RFIs and submittals. And this isn't a vision of the future. Real companies are building real structures today using BIM 360. Whether it's the world's tallest modular structure, complex highway and bridge projects, or commercial construction, all have benefited from BIM 360. So how do we get started with BIM 360? Next week we'll have a full webinar on this, but for now, let's just look at the sample project. At any one time, of course, you could have many projects ongoing. This summary page identifies the project and gives a dashboard of status. You can customize what is shown by choosing from the card library the different panels that would show different topics. Here we show the project issues outstanding for me to handle and what design packages have been created. Let's go into the data for this project. You see that within this project there is a folder structure to organize data. The folder project files holds the BIM models and associated files, while the plans folder holds the published construction documentation. You can add any subfolders you like in this structure. The folders do have some intelligence. For example, BIM 360 Design uses the project file folders for Revit work shared projects. When you form teams for the projects, you can set the user's default working location so their work is automatically saved in that location. Every folder has controlled access. You set the permission by user or by company. You probably don't want the structural engineer uploading MEP models or vice versa. The levels of permission range from view only up to full control. If the user has no permissions to a folder, they can't even see what files are in it. To add files to the project, just click on the Upload button and point to the file. If you upload Revit models to the project folder, the Revit Publish settings will determine what views and sheets of the model are uploaded. BIM 360 will automatically create the 2D sheets and extract the sheet name and sheet number. If you upload a multi-page PDF, BIM 360 will automatically create individual pages for the PDF and extract the page name and number. Here we see a 3D Revit model and the 4 sheets that were included. This was done automatically when the one Revit file was uploaded. With either 2D or 3D, you can pan, zoom, and orbit in order to navigate and examine the model. The view cube in the upper right is another navigation tool to help you move the model around. The little home symbol resets the model to its original position. You can create walkthroughs or walking around the model. Looking around and seeing what's inside, all completely interactively. While this doesn't replace a rendered walkthrough for a client, it does allow a quick understanding of structure. For MEP partners, being able to interactively look around the plenum is great. But it's more than a visual tool. We have the actual digital model here also. So we can measure distance, angles, and areas. The measures can be inches, feet, or fractions. Here I'll do feet and fractions. Measure the distance from one wall to another. Or I could measure areas. And the accuracy is in the same accuracy as the model you're working on. Revit is an object-oriented system, so it makes sense to provide the ability to show object properties. The model browser shows the different types of objects in the Revit model. So if we wanted to look at the roofs, for example, we can see that there are 5 generic 12-inch roofs and 10 metal roofs. We could select one of these roofs, and you see it zooms in on the roof, and I could hide it in the view so I can see inside. I could pick a roof over here and look at the properties of that object. And this is true for any object in the model. This happens to be a roof, so we have things like square foot, volumes, some of the analytical properties, including heat transfer and thermal resistance, which is important for calculating solar load. Other objects may have things like vendor, model number, sizes in the properties. Collaboration means being able to share ideas, so redlining is part of the BIM 360 docs. This panel allows us to create red lines using freehand stroking, text, or bubbles. So here we could do a call out. And check this and could save that markup. Red lines can be created either private or public, so you could have it visible to just the members of your team or to everyone on the project. All of the red lines are remembered for all of the entries, so I could come back later and look at this one, and it knows what sheet that red line was created on, who did it, and when. Collaboration also includes managing issues. Users can create issues and assign it for resolution. To create an issue, you simply click on this button and enter in with the issue information. These issues are already entered into the system, so I click on one of the issues, and again, it goes to the view that shows the most relevant view of the model. In this case, the question about wind resistance of a door. And this has information about this issue. Issues can be assigned to people with a due date. Looks like I'm overdue on this one. And you can track them for each project. So I can see for the project all of the issues that are outstanding. I can filter them by outstanding issues or any status, because each of the issues has a status, or who they're assigned to. BIM 360 keeps track of every version of a document that is uploaded. Here we see version 1 was uploaded in December, and version 2 was uploaded 7 minutes later. Frequently, you want to know what changed from one version to another. With BIM 360 docs, you can compare 2 versions and see what was added, deleted, and changed. Things that were added are shown in green, things that were changed are shown in yellow, and things that were removed are shown in red. Here we added a door, which obviously changes this wall. and we removed, and you can see down here, 17 objects, which consist of mullions and panels, which represented a window in that wall. So that window system was removed and the door was put in. It's very important you're able to see the differences, because frequently you'll get an update on a regular basis and you won't know exactly what has changed from one to the other. Again, if I look at the history here, I'm right now looking at version 2, which has the door in that wall. But if I say I want to look at version 1, this is the model with the window, which was removed to make room for the door. Many companies have workflows defined for review and approval of drawings. BIM 360 lets you initiate the review process for any document. So if I take this document and submit it for review, I could have some predefined review processes. You probably have a different review process for internal review than for the project review. Once we choose a review process, we can choose the people that are involved, what kind of process it's going to be, and what documents are included. So here's a review with only one document. Submit it for review, and then these are the people who could be responsible for providing this review, and I can choose these people. I can see what reviews are active for this project and what state they're in based on the results of the action of the people who were named as the reviewers and when they are next action due. These reviews could be one or a whole set of documents, and this review is auditable to see what's happened and what is next to be done. Sometimes you need to submit a package of documents for others in the project. So in that case, we call it a transmittal. And this transmittal would be for the purpose of creating a sometimes legally required set of information from one organization to another. So of course, all of these transmittals are auditable, and after the fact, we can see exactly what was inside each transmittal. Here I could add another document to this transmittal just by checking on it and create the recipient similar to what I did before. I'm not going to do that, but we can always manage the transmittals that have been created. So we see that there was a transmittal sent back in March, 2 different transmittals, and here we could take a look and see who it was sent to and what documents were included. So what we've looked at so far and what we've focused on is the BIM 360 Docs capability as a collaborative data management system, taking all of these documents, organizing them in a folder structure, providing tools for collaboration with redlining and sharing information with markups, looking at issues, and making sure that everyone on the project is involved in the process, including reviews and transmittals. But there's other cloud services that build on this platform to address other needs. BIM 360 Build is aimed at construction and commissioning, so it manages field issues, checklists, quality lists, and safety procedures. The intent there is it's carried out on the field using iPads or other tablets and accessing the information directly from BIM 360 to provide those drawings and those visuals to the people in the field as they do their checklists. BIM 360 coordination adds project quality by doing interference checking between models. So you could, using BIM 360 coordination, take all of the ductwork and compare it against the structural steel to check for interferences. By doing this, you can highlight any of the interferences and assign the interferences to different people for resolution. BIM 360 Design provides design collaboration when you need simultaneous project development. We'll have a webinar dedicated to looking at BIM 360 Design in a couple of weeks, but the intent there is that we're really enabling people to put together their own work, share that information within their organization, and pass it on as a design package for the next group to use. All right, so let me catch up on any questions that came in. There was a question about permissions, and absolutely within BIM 360 you have the ability to set permissions by individual users, but that's the lowest level kernel of information. You could set it by companies or by teams. So Sam as himself could have certain level of permissions, but Sam could be member of the architectural design team and as such has permissions based on that team assignment. Or you can assign permissions by companies. So if Sam is a member of XYZ Architects, then the company XYZ Architects could be assigned permissions. That makes it very flexible on how you can handle assignments. Somebody had a question about BIM 360 Team. BIM 360 Team is a tool that Autodesk provided. It started as a cloud service about 3 or 4 years ago. At that time, the data architecture was designed only for BIM 360 Team, and other apps used different data storage. That meant that the user had to move data from one data storage to another. BIM 360 Next Generation uses the single data architecture of Forge, so there is one source for all data, and you, the user, don't have to worry about it. Does that mean that BIM 360 is dead? No, if you started the project with BIM 360 Team, you should continue to use BIM 360 Team until the project is finished. Any new projects, however, should be started with BIM 360 Next Generation. One more point, Revit 2018.3 and newer supports BIM 360 Next Generation. If you're using older releases than 2018.3, then only BIM 360 Team is supported. Let's see. There was a question about BIM 360 Docs versus Bluebeam. Bluebeam is a product, has a strong place in the marketplace as a PDF viewer and redlining tool. Many of our customers use it, and in fact, MicroCAD actually sells Bluebeam. If you are a standalone company that needs PDF in the field, then Bluebeam's great. But if you need to work with Revit or AutoCAD files, or if you need collaboration, then BIM 360 Docs gives you more. Couple of examples. With BIM 360, if you upload a Revit file, then BIM 360 breaks out the sheets and views so you can look at drawings or the model. This happens whether or not you have a Revit license. Bluebeam needs a Revit license to perform the same functionally, so only Revit users can upload. With BIM 360, regardless of device, you can trust you're looking at the most recent version because it's automatically synchronized when uploaded. When Bluebeam is on an iPad, there's an intermediate process using review on the workstation to synchronize, meaning you aren't always sure what you're viewing is the most current. Bottom line is that both Bluebeam and BIM 360 Docs are great tools for what they're designed to do. It's just that BIM 360 is designed to do more. And there's a good question about transitioning from existing data storage devices. So if you have a library of drawings for a project already in some other data management system, you want to get them into BIM 360 without having to manually upload them. So there are third-party apps, some of which are free to use, that allow you to migrate drawings or other files from other cloud-based data stores or from an on-premises location. These tools can maintain directory structure and nomenclature, so what you are used to will be put into BIM 360. It also maintains privileges and permissions. So if you're coming from a Dropbox environment where you've got the files and you want to bring them into BIM 360 as a group, I'm not sure if Dropbox allows folder structures, but if you had them in the folder structure in Dropbox, you could bring over the entire directory set, so as deep as you need to go, and those folder structures will be created in BIM 360. If you have more complex migration projects, then MicroCAD can provide services to get your data into BIM 360 from just about anywhere. So if there's a specific set of questions, give us a call and we can talk about how that could be done. There was a question about how you build the workflows into BIM 360, and that's something that I just touched on. I showed you some review processes. Those review processes are your processes. You set up and define them the way you want to, and that's going to be covered in the next webinar next week when we talk about how you get started, because the getting started requires you to define what those workflows would look like. So I have to defer for that on a week. And there was a question about bringing in PDFs. There's a couple of things that are built into BIM 360. The first is if you have a multi-page PDF, then you can set up in BIM 360 the ability to find the sheet name and the sheet number. And when that entire PDF multi-sheet PDF is loaded, BIM 360 will break out each individual sheet for separate access. So you would see on your browser tree all of the sheets in a PDF. If you had multiple PDFs, each of which were multi-sheet, you could bring them all in using some of those bulk third-party packages I just mentioned about migration. So if you've got sets of PDFs, you might want to bring them in as a set. I think I had an example. Let me go back. So here is a directory called Cut Sheets. And this was put together from PDFs from a vendor and automatically created the multiple sheets for the different cut sheets. Obviously, the process would work just the same if you had 2 or you had 100 cut sheets in a single PDF. All right, I don't see any more questions. So I want to thank you for taking the time to attend today's webinar. We did record it and it will be made available through the website. Yeah, I hope you found it useful. Sign up now for the next webinars in this series, which are next week. We're going to be talking about getting started, which is covering how you get the data store set up, how you configure BIM 360 to work with you, including setting up review cycles, providing for the definition of how you bring PDFs in, and setting users and permissions. And then the week following, October 31st, we'll be talking about BIM 360 design, actually how end users use BIM 360 to share collaborative design both within their own company or with other companies. And keep watching www.microcad3d.com as we add more webinars to this series. If you want more information, feel free to contact me directly or call any of the MicroCAD offices. Thank you again, and this ends the webinar. Thank you for your time.